Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I'm Aaron Loomis coming to you from the Drew Estate Studio. With me today is Seth Geis, and from the Villager Cigar Studios, John McTavish. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man.
Doing well. We're racing to the end of the year, trying to get the all the million cigars that released in August reviewed before to be eligible. Because we don't want to be haters. We don't want to leave out any brands. So
All right.
here we go. Here we go.
All right. So today we are talking about the Casa 1910 Cavalry Edition As de Oro. Cigar is a Toro Extra 6x54. Comes out of an undisclosed factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Ecuadorian Habano. Binder is Mexican San Andres Negro, and the filler is Nicaraguan Jalapa Seco and Viso, Ometepe Viso, and Esteli Ligero. Blended by Manolo Santiago. Price point is $16.89, and the cigar was released in August of 2022. So with all that out of the way, Seth, what was your overall experience like with this cigar?
Listen, it's the first thing anyone who remembers the Casa 1910 is that this was the all Mexican first, weren't they? This was the group that did it, right? And then
Yes,
they're
initially,
like, you know what?
yes.
We're bouncing. We're bouncing from Mexico. We're going someplace else. Um, First they're really started out showing like these damp barnyard qualities, just wood, hay, finish of pepper spices, medium to medium full in strength and body. Really, the funny thing is actually it's really a departure from their like Mexican stuff. So
Yeah.
you're smoking, you're like, what the heck? This isn't even anything like it. And then you look at all the notes. The second, third, and final third are pretty in line with that of the first third. I mean, except the fact that it's kind of going downhill in terms of quality. Um, the burn and the burn and draw, just the burn is all over the place. Draws somewhat decent in the giant scheme of things. Final third is just lots of mineral wood and pepper spices, pretty harsh. John?
Yeah. So I didn't have a great experience. I'll get into more details. So it definitely got a lot of those components Seth was talking about. So like you know barnyard earthiness, tannic wood, like just a real sort of earth forward profile, with a lot of sort of toasted earth and spice. And then there was some spicy bread, which kind of gave some relief on the palate. But then that got immediately pushed aside by sharp wood. And that was kind of as good as the experience got. The second third was spicy molasses wood, and then just became really wood forward, and then just so much earth on the finish. And I was like, oh, I'm like, this is gonna be a long review. And then unfortunately, it took a turn for the worse in the last third. Started out with bread and spicy wood, and then just became really harsh and unbalanced, ashiness and bitterness. And like at this point, I'm like an hour and 50 some odd minutes into the review. So like it's not like I was smoking too fast, which would normally to me be an indication of but I think I know why. At any rate, the last third was not pleasant. Burn was surprisingly almost perfect with just a touch of required in the last third. The issue here, I think, was 100% a construction problem. And I don't normally say this in a review, but it is definitely a construction problem. I had a draw that was literally one notch below plugged. So I was still getting smoke production. Like if you felt this thing, it felt like a brick. Like I don't know who was doing the bunching that day, but they're like, I have leftover tobacco and it all needs to go in the cigar. And so I definitely think that harmed the flavor profile because yeah, it was definitely the prototypical McDonald's milkshake draw on this bad boy. All of that to say, it was a pretty below average experience for me. Aaron, what about you?
Yeah, for me, this cigar started with toasted cedar and mild cinnamon. I got some earth that joined in fairly quickly, and then the cinnamon transitioned to baking spice. Second third saw the baking spice transition to black pepper, and then a light vegetable note joined in. And then the final third saw the toast level and the vegetable note increase. I thought the cigar had a nice start, had a good combination of flavors, but from the second third on, though, it was less dynamic and pretty linear and mundane. It's got the high price point, so the experience just didn't live up, I think, to that price point. And I just don't see myself really coming back to it all that often. But I definitely had a much more pleasurable experience than John and Seth did. So getting to the scores, I was the top scorer at 5.85. John gave it a 4.7, and Seth
Oof.
gave it a 4.33. So,
Wow.
yeah, my score matched up well. I mean, I had an above average flavor profile. I had pretty good construction. I mean, but I think this shows kind of like the difference between, what you get out of the same box, right? So vastly different construction issues with you guys compared to myself. And I think that this is probably the knock on the brand at this point, but we'll kind of get that a bit later. John, 4.7.
Yeah, it measures up well. That's about where I'd put it, based on combination of construction issues and a so I would rate that subpar overall flavor experience. I'm actually kind of surprised Seth's lower than me, but Seth?
Yeah, 4.33.
4 points. Just it's right in line. I think if I looked at the cigar, I'd probably give it a 4.32. But after smoking, I gave it that 0.01. Listen, yeah, it's concern. It was pretty bad. It's really, after we can we just get into the overall conclusion?
Yeah,
After the
go for
first
it.
time I smoked it, I
Do
was
it.
like,
Just roll right
man,
in.
this is the first, Mexican company that seems to take pride in like their packaging, and that they were all, Mexican tobacco, and the cigars were made there, and all of a sudden they go to a different country, and it's just maybe other people don't like the first one. I don't know. It just seemed this was like $17. This was I don't know. I probably wouldn't come back to the brand again. And I know we have some other ones to smoke after this, but it's I don't know. It's bad.
Yeah. See, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. They had these they launched the brand with a single Vitola Mexican Puro, right? And
Yeah.
then they come out with now they have some other Vitolas in the full Mexican blend, and then they start this Nicaragua series. And now my understanding is they're going to do a Dominican series. So I don't know if this was the plan all along, or they kind of said we're all Mexico all in, and then they're like, all right, well, we kind of have dug ourselves into a hole, and now we need to branch out. But like the first time I experienced this brand was at the PCA trade show, and they were sponsoring one of the seminars, and they handed out the cigar, the full Mexican Puro version of the cigar, and it was not good. Like it was a quarter of an inch in, and I'm done. Like I'm not doing it. So, but the release version was much better than this. Mixed bag on what you're getting. I haven't smoked any of the other sizes yet, because we have some more in the Cavalry and we have more in the Revolutionary Edition. Haven't gotten to those yet, but talking to other people that smoke it, it just seems like you never know what you're gonna get when you light one up. You don't know if you're gonna get a good. And I know that this can happen to anybody, but I think the
No, but
variation between cigars is just
this is way too inconsistent. And
yeah,
if people are
yeah.
saying that, that's it really you're like, man, the packaging doesn't make any sense. The names isn't gonna if I was a retailer, I'd be like, dude, what, come on, man. This doesn't make sense to anybody. John, you were in retail.
Yeah. Yes, I was for many
Yeah.
years.
You gave it a
And it's
4.7. You gave it a
yeah, just I mean, just to get
4.7, man.
the issue, and again, like you can charge whatever you want for a cigar, but the problem is once you get over that sort of $13-14 price point, any sort of draw or burn issues, and the burn was great, but like there's no question that the draw issues were one of construction. And on a cigar that's near $17, you just can't have that. Like there's just no room for that because that'll kill a brand, especially if somebody is new to the brand and they shell that kind of money out. That's going to look really bad on the brand. And it's also going to look really bad on the retailer who's taking a chance because retailers have to take a chance on new brands, and it's just not going to reflect well. And unfortunately, like I said, if it's
This is the big leap
$9,
of
it'd be
faith,
like
man.
whatever, who cares? But like when you go over 15, it's like, dude, you can't. That's Padron territory. You can't.
Do you
I
remember
mean,
in
it's a shame
Indiana?
because
Do you remember in Indiana Jones' Last Crusade when he like is holding the goblet and he like walks out? He has to do that leap of faith.
Yeah.
And it's like his belief in religion led him this way. I wouldn't do that shit with this fucking brand. Are you kidding me, dude? No, because I'm falling down that fucking cliff, dude. There's no way there's a fucking bridge there, man. I'm sorry. It's just not. This is. There's way too much inconsistency for this being the second time we've smoked this brand. I went from a 7 to a 4.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all over the place.
Yeah.
You can't even keep me as a fanboy.
Yeah, I hope the other sizes are more consistent and smoke better.
Yeah.
That's what I hope.
All
The
right,
cavalry smoked terrible. Hopefully, the infantry and the artillery do a little bit
There
better.
you go.
wherever you're catching this video, be sure to like and subscribe, but read the full written review at the website, developmentpalace.com. Follow us on the social media channels. You can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
This was recorded after Coop left Mexico.